Well, on a personal level, because Judy and I have become good friends over the years, I was glad for Judy. I mean, she's been at this a long time, and it's a fair time for her to explore what's her new chapter.
We don't call it retire.
Okay.
Actually, I think about it, a refocus.
Okay.
A refocusing in her life. Part of me really understood why.
I left Alternatives in '96, and Judy and I feel like we were pretty close by that point, and I said, so I'm leaving, Judy. I know you've been here for about 20 years. What are your plans for the future? And so she didn't say, I'm going to stay for another 22 years. She didn't say that, but here she has ended up putting almost 40 years into alternatives. But just to kind of stay in that space and really invest your whole self into that is pretty amazing. And I just have to give Judy a lot of credit for that.
Judy always created that space to be creative and to think outside the box and to say, okay, let's try this, even though nobody else is. And so that's what I see is like, just appreciate is like how alternatives, and with Judy's leadership, there was this space to do things differently with and for the kids.
I felt that our conversations were always authentic, and all my Carmenisms came out in our space because I think she also created a safe space for me to do that.
Judy, like for many organizations, the leader and the relationships that leader brings to the organization are key, and the biggest differential, I think, between success and failure. Alternatives, like any nonprofit in Chicago, like most businesses in Chicago, have been through some very tough times in the last 10 years. And for the leader to keep positive, maintain those relationships, I think, and ultimately come out on the successful side as alternatives have to those tougher economic times, I think is to Judy's credit.
Judy's has a very quiet strength. And she has, like in the years that I have known her, which is now probably over 20-something years, working with her, I think she had a vision around inclusion and equity and preparing our youth for the world.
Obviously, all of the work over the years and the countless thousands of kids that have been impacted through the organization with her at the helm, and all the wonderful people who have been staffed there, and all the people who have supported the organization over the years, but primarily in all of the young people who have come through the doors of alternatives and experienced kind of that creative, energizing vitality that makes it what it is, right? And just to kind of step away from that and say, that's, in a lot of ways, it's like one person. It's not one person, and she would never say that, right? But, she has been at the helm through all of that.
She does, and kind of the balancing act she's always involved with, from funders to political kinds of considerations to staff issues. And of course, it always, the bottom line is, in this case, are kids getting what they need.
Because of her leadership and maintaining that positiveness and those sticky relationships that she had developed over her 30-some years here, I think is really attributable to the success of the organization.
It's never about Judy. I think that's one of the things that struck me most of all from the very beginning, is that Judy was never in the room to promote Judy. It was always about the project, about the young people, about how you make things happen. It was never, you never got the impression Judy was the smartest person in the room because she told you. It was because the really smart things came out of Judy.
But I've always had contact with Judy, always. And she was such an inspiration in my life, not just for the job, but just that she took a chance on me and she coached me and mentored me, and things that I still use today.
And I feel like Judy's always been just the quiet storm, and she's given people the chance to be leaders.
this work is not easy, and people will judge you, and people will critique you, and people will think they can do your job better than you. But it really takes a compassionate person. And through all my years working for Judy, I've never felt that she didn't have the compassion to do this work. So I wish her very well. I whatever she does, be happy and go forward and let someone else carry the torch for you.
In this space, the next iteration of what Judy's going to be refocusing on will be good. And it'll be interesting to see how she uses and takes all this wisdom and experience and connections and takes that through to her next journey